Trust may be tricky when you grew up feeling unsafe around the people who are supposed to protect you. And especially when those same people were the ones offering love one moment and causing pain the next moment. So if you've ever felt like your emotions pull you in two totally different directions, one craving connection and the other one terrified of this connection, that could be the fearful avoidant pattern playing out. And when it comes to trust, that inner split can feel exhausting. And so in this video, we're going to talk about why building trust is so complicated for people with fearful avoidant attachment. And I will share where that fear really comes from and what trust actually means in a healthy relationship. And we will discuss 5 key things that fearful avoidants need in order to feel emotionally safe. So whether you're the one working for this attachment style or you're the one trying to build a relationship with someone who has this attachment style, this video will help you understand what's going beneath the surface and what you can do about it. My name is Luna A. May and I'm a life and attachment style coach and author of books on attachment styles, What Attachment Style Are You, and Understanding and Overcoming Anxious Attachment. And my mission is to help people understand their emotional patterns and reconnect with the safe, loving relationships that they truly deserve. So let's start with the heart of this issue, trust. For most people, trust is something that builds gradually. But for someone with a fearful avoidant attachment style, trust is not only fragile, it can also feel dangerous. If you are fearful avoidant, you probably didn't grow up in a home where trust was consistent. So maybe one parent was loving and warm one day and cold or explosive the next day. Or maybe you had a caregiver who was kind in public when everybody looked, but dismissive or unavailable behind the closed doors. So because of that, you received a message that wasn't, I am safe with people. It was rather a message like, I need to stay on high alert because love isn't stable. Love might hurt me. And so what happens? You learn to associate closeness with unpredictability. And even as an adult, your nervous system still reacts to intimacy the same way it did back then, with anxiety or with shutdown, or with a mix of both. So the closer someone gets, the more your subconscious goes, oh, this could go wrong. I need to protect myself. And this is where that infamous push and pull dynamic starts. Because deep down, fearful avoidants actually do want closeness. They want love, they want connection, they want safety. But as soon as it starts to feel real, they get scared and instinctively pull away. And it's not because they don't care, it's just because their nervous system never learned how to feel safe with closeness. Now let's clear up a really important point. A lot of people think trust means always expecting the best from others or blindly believing that no one will hurt you. But that's not what real trust is, of course. Real trust means that you believe that even if something goes wrong, even if there is a conflict, if there is a misunderstanding, it can be repaired. It means believing that the other person will care enough to talk the problem through with you and that they are ready to take accountability if it is needed as well. And that's exactly what fearful avoidants need in a relationship. They don't need perfection. They don't need to have total control. But they need reassurance that if something breaks, it can be repaired and it will not be ignored or dismissed. And you have to know that for someone with fearful avoidant attachment style, words aren't enough. They need consistent action. They need to see and see it over time that the people around them mean what they say. They need to feel that the boundaries are respected and that their emotional needs are met, and not just occasionally met, but on regular basis. If you are a fearful avoidant, you might already know that it's hard to trust because deep down there is this belief that when people really get to know you, they will leave you or they will change. Or even worse, you think that you will mess it up. That shame response is huge for fearful avoidance. It's not just, I'm afraid they will hurt me. It's often something like, I'm afraid they will see who I am. And when they see who I am, they will decide I'm not good enough. And that's why trust isn't just about others being reliable. It's also about learning to trust yourself, to believe that you are worthy of love even when you are not perfect, even when you are triggered, even when you need reassurance. So let's talk about what really helps a fearful avoidant to feel safe enough to trust. It's not a checklist, it's not a quick fix, it's just something that unfolds over time in the little moments, in how someone shows up again and again. One of the biggest emotional pieces is openness from both sides. When someone is willing to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable, something shifts. One of the biggest pieces is emotional openness, and emotional openness from both sides. Because when someone is willing to be honest, even if it's uncomfortable, something shifts. Another thing is the vulnerability. Vulnerability in that sense isn't about oversharing or exposing yourself to pain. It's about showing up with your truth, saying things like, this is how I feel, or this is what scares me, and it goes both ways. Because when both people are being real with each other, that's when trust actually begins to grow. Another thing that creates safety is accountability, and especially when something goes wrong. So it's not enough to say, I didn't mean to hurt you. What matters more is showing that you care about the impact, that you're willing to slow down, to understand, to explain what was going on for you, and not just give a simple excuse. That kind of honesty gives a fearful avoidance nervous system a moment of breath. It says, this isn't what happened before. You're not being dismissed. Another important thing for fearful avoidance is validation. And validation just means showing someone that their emotional reality makes sense. So you might not agree with every interpretation. That's okay. But when you can say, I see why that upsets you, or I can understand where you're coming from, that moment alone can calm so much internal chaos. And remember, of course, there will be issues. That's a part of human being. What makes the difference is the willingness to repair things when they are broken, to actually come back and say, I care about you. Let's work through this. And you don't need to perfect behavior to build trust. You need the repair, the returning. And over time, it's the consistency that makes the biggest difference. When your actions match your words, when you keep showing up, even when things feel tense or messy, when you think about how your choices impact the other person, and not out of guilt or obligation, but out of care, those are the moments that begin to teach a fearful avoidance something radically new. That safety doesn't have to be earned through self-sacrifice. And the trust isn't just a dream. It's something that can be built. And bit by bit, those walls start to soften. And suddenly, it's not about never getting triggered again. It's knowing that you don't have to run the moment it happens. And if you recognize yourself in this, if you've been carrying that tension between wanting connection and not knowing how to fully trust it, I want you to know something. There is nothing wrong with the way you protect yourself. It makes total sense because you learned that safety wasn't something you could take for granted. That you had to stay alert. That letting someone in might mean getting hurt. But here is the shift. The patterns that helps you survive your past don't have to define your future. You don't have to flip a switch and suddenly become this fully open, perfectly secure version of yourself. Healing doesn't ask you to stop being who you are. It asks you to start responding to life from a place of awareness rather than fear. And that begins in the small moments. The moments when you feel like shutting down, but instead you pause and you stay present just a little bit longer than normally. The moments when you feel like walking away, but you say, actually, this matters to me. The moments when someone else shows care and you let yourself believe them, even just 10% more than you did yesterday. That's how trust is built, not through perfection or grand gestures, but through consistency and through emotional honesty. And of course it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes practice. But it will come. You just have to continue showing up. If any of this spoke to something inside you, I hope you keep going. I hope you keep noticing the shifts, even when they are small. Because those small shifts, that's what healing actually looks like. Thanks for being here and for doing the kind of work most people avoid. I'll see you in the next video.